How to become the first and last thing on a person's mind. Machiavelli's mind trick. There's something the world won't tell you. A truth so raw, so cutting, that society wraps it in pretty lies about being nice, being open, being the good person. But Niccolò Machiavelli knew better. He understood that the human mind is not conquered through kindness. It's dominated through strategy. Today, you learn not how to be liked. You learn how to become impossible to forget. You learn how to live in someone's head, rent-free, forever. This isn't about manipulation for cruelty's sake. This is about understanding the cold mechanics of human psychology and using them to become unforgettable. Most men beg for attention. You're about to learn how to command it. Most men chase validation. You're about to discover how to make others chase yours. Most men hope to be remembered. You're about to become impossible to forget. Chapter 1. Kill the good man inside you. You've been lied to your entire life. They told you to be the nice guy, be understanding, be available, always say yes, always apologize first, always put others before yourself. That's the blueprint they gave you for success with people. But look around. Where are all these good men now? They're forgotten. They're taken for granted. They're the reliable ones people call when they need something, then ignore when they don't. The good man is predictable, and predictable is boring. The good man has no edges, no mystery, no danger. He's safe, and safe things get put on a shelf and forgotten. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote that it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Not because fear is noble, but because fear is memorable. Fear creates respect. Fear makes people think twice before dismissing you. You must kill the good man inside you. Not become evil, but become powerful. Not become cruel, but become strategic. Not become heartless, but become smart about when and how you show your heart. The good man explains himself constantly. The powerful man lets others wonder. The good man apologizes for taking up space. The powerful man makes space for himself without asking permission. The good man reacts to everything. The powerful man responds to what deserves a response and ignores the rest. From this moment forward, you stop being everyone's emotional support system. You stop being the person who's always available, always understanding, always ready to drop everything for someone else's crisis. You become selective. Your time becomes valuable because you treat it as valuable. This doesn't mean you become cold. It means you become strategic about your warmth. The sun doesn't shine for everyone equally. It has its seasons, its patterns, its moments of burning bright and moments of disappearing behind clouds. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes people worship it. You're not the reliable, safe choice anymore. You're the unforgettable one, the one who makes people's hearts race, not from fear, but from the electricity of being chosen by someone who doesn't choose just anyone. Chapter 2. Become a beautiful mystery. Most people present themselves like an open book. They tell you everything about their day, their feelings, their plans, their fears. They think this builds connection. It doesn't. It builds boredom. An open book gets read once, then put back on the shelf. But a mystery gets studied, discussed, obsessed over. People lose sleep trying to solve mysteries. They don't lose sleep over things they already understand. You must become a beautiful mystery. Not through lies or fake personas, but through selective sharing. You choose what parts of yourself to show and when. You become a masterpiece that's only partially visible, making people desperate to see the rest. Think about the most fascinating people you've ever met. They weren't the ones who told you their life story in the first conversation. They were the ones who said just enough to make you curious, then left you wanting more. They gave you a taste, not the whole meal. You control the information flow about yourself, like a master storyteller controls plot. You drop hints about your past without giving the full story. You mention goals without explaining every step. You show glimpses of your world without offering a tour. When someone asks what you did last weekend, you don't give them a play-by-play. You say, something I'd been planning for a while, and change the subject. When they ask about your work, you don't complain or brag. You say, it keeps me busy, and ask about them instead. This isn't about being secretive for the sake of being difficult. This is about understanding that mystery creates value. The less they know for certain about you, the more they fill in the blanks with their imagination. And imagination is always more powerful than reality. You become the person they think about when they're alone. Not because you told them to, but because they can't figure you out. They replay your conversations looking for clues. They analyze your expressions, your tone, your silences. You become the puzzle they can't solve, which makes you the person they can't forget. People don't obsess over what they fully understand. They obsess over what feels just out of reach. You become that for them. The beautiful mystery they're always trying to solve. Chapter 3. Master the art of strategic absence. The amateur thinks he needs to always be around to be important. He texts constantly, calls regularly, shows up everywhere. He believes presence equals value. He's wrong. The master knows that absence can be more powerful than presence. Your presence should be like a drug. Intense, focused, unforgettable. When you're with someone, you're completely there. Your attention is like a spotlight that makes them feel like the center of the universe. You create moments so clear, so emotionally charged, that they get burned into memory. But then you disappear, not in anger, not with drama. You simply become unavailable. You have other things to do, other places to be, other people to see. You don't explain where you're going or when you'll be back. You just go. This creates a vacuum, and nature hates vacuums. Into that empty space rushes all their thoughts, questions, and growing obsession with you. Where did he go? What is he doing? When will I see him again? Did I say something wrong? Was that moment we shared as special to him as it was to me? You've given them a puzzle with a missing piece. Their mind will work overtime trying to find it. They'll check their phone not with hope, but with addiction. They'll replay your last conversation, looking for clues about when you might return. Your silence becomes louder than your words ever were. You're not just someone they know. You've become a question mark in their life that they can't stop trying to answer. The timing of your return is critical. Don't come back when they expect it. Don't come back when they beg for it. Come back when they're on the edge of giving up, when the tension is at its peak. And when you do return, don't explain your absence. Don't apologize. Act like nothing happened. Bring that same intense presence that made them addicted in the first place. This push and pull, this rhythm of intense connection, followed by mysterious absence, is the engine of obsession. You're training their nervous system to crave you. You're teaching them that your attention is not guaranteed, which makes it precious. You become the ghost that haunts their quiet moments, the phantom they can't get out of their head. Not because you're always there, but because you're perfectly, strategically, not there. Chapter 4. Control the emotional temperature. Most people try to always make others feel good. They think constant pleasure equals strong connection. They're wrong. The human mind doesn't remember constant anything. It remembers contrast. It remembers the peaks and valleys, not the flat, comfortable middle. To own someone's mind, you must master their emotional temperature. You must learn to give them the highest highs and the most unsettling lows, not through cruelty, but through strategic emotional management. First, you establish yourself as their primary source of emotional highs. Through your focused attention, your understanding, your unique way of seeing them, you create peak experiences. You make them feel special, understood, alive in ways no one else can. You become their drug of choice. Then, just when they're basking in that warmth, you introduce a chill. Not through insults or cruelty, but through subtle shifts, a moment of unexpected distance, a joke that cuts a little too deep, a sudden focus on something else entirely. You give them a glimpse of what life feels like without your approval. The effect is immediate and devastating. Their whole being recoils from that coldness. They scramble to understand what they did wrong, how they can get back into your warmth. That small taste of emotional winter makes them desperate for your summer. You control the pendulum. The rush of relief when you swing back to warmth is intoxicating. They're not just happy to have your attention again. They're grateful. They're relieved. They're addicted to the cycle. This isn't about being mean. This is about understanding that humans are wired to appreciate things more when they've felt the threat of losing them. The person who never fears losing something never truly values it. You become more than someone they enjoy being around. You become someone they're terrified of losing. That fear, that anxiety about your approval, creates a psychological dependency that goes far deeper than simple attraction. They don't just want you anymore. They need you. They need your validation to feel complete. They need your attention to feel worthy. You've moved beyond being a choice in their life. You've become a necessity, and necessities are never forgotten. They're never taken for granted. They're never replaced easily. You've transformed yourself from optional to essential in their emotional ecosystem. Chapter 5. The Strategic Vulnerability Trap. After establishing yourself as a fortress of strength and mystery, you deploy the most dangerous weapon in your arsenal: calculated vulnerability. But this isn't the weakness that destroys men. This is vulnerability as a Trojan horse. By now they see you as powerful, controlled, almost untouchable. They admire it, but they also feel distance. They see the walls but can't get inside. The strategic vulnerability is your invitation for them to enter. But on your terms, you choose your moment with surgical precision. In a quiet, intimate setting, after you've created a peak emotional experience, you offer them a glimpse behind the curtain. You share something personal, something that seems to expose you. But here's the key. This vulnerability must be curated. It must reinforce your power, not undermine it. You don't confess weakness. You reveal the source of your strength disguised as a wound. Instead of saying, "I'm insecure about my appearance," you say, "I learned early that the world judges you before you speak, so I made sure I'd never give them a reason to dismiss me." Instead of saying, "I'm afraid of rejection," you say, "I've been betrayed by people I trusted, which taught me to be very careful about who gets close to me." You're not showing them weakness. You're showing them the forge where your strength was hammered out. You're giving them the origin story of the powerful man they're drawn to. The effect is devastating. They feel special, chosen, trusted with information no one else has. They believe they've been given the key to understanding you. They feel like they've discovered the vulnerable human beneath the powerful exterior. This creates an overwhelming urge to protect you, to nurture that part of you they think they've found. They become fiercely loyal, defending you to others, convinced they understand you in a way no one else does. But you haven't surrendered power. You've solidified it. You've made them feel like the guardian of your secrets, the protector of your vulnerability. They're not just attracted to you now. They feel responsible for you. They've become emotionally invested in your well-being. The Trojan horse is inside their city walls. They brought it in themselves, thinking they were rescuing something precious. They don't realize they've just given you complete access to their defenses. Chapter 6. Install your voice in their head. The final phase of mental dominance is to colonize their inner world. You want them to not just think of you, but to think like you. You want your voice, your perspective, your way of seeing the world to become the background music of their own thoughts. This is achieved through linguistic seeding. You stop making statements and start planting questions. Instead of saying, "People are so predictable," you ask, "Don't you ever notice how you can see exactly what someone's going to do before they do it?" Let them arrive at the cynical observation. Let them feel the thrill of that insight. You create a private language between you. Special words for certain types of people you both encounter. Unique phrases for feelings you both share. This isn't just cute couple talk. This is cognitive programming. When they encounter those situations in the real world, they'll automatically use your framework to understand them. They're seeing reality through your eyes. You become the interpreter of their experiences. When they come to you with problems or successes, you frame everything according to your philosophy. If they succeed, you frame it as their will imposing itself on reality. If they fail, you frame it as a lesson about the harsh nature of the world. Slowly, their inner voice starts to sound like yours. When they face challenges, they unconsciously ask themselves, "How would he see this?" When they feel emotions, they filter them through the lens you provided. Their thoughts are no longer entirely their own. You've successfully infiltrated their mental processes. They live in a world you helped build, speaking a language you created, guided by a philosophy you installed. The echo chamber is complete. Every thought now bounces back to you. They can't make decisions without considering your perspective. They can't have experiences without wondering how you'd interpret them. You're not just in their life anymore. You're in their head, a permanent resident in the place where their identity is formed. This is the deepest level of influence. You're not controlling their actions. You're shaping how they think, which controls everything they do. You've become part of their operating system, the background program that influences every other program they run. Chapter 7. Anchor yourself to their core memory. People's lives aren't continuous streams of experience. They're collections of defining moments, a handful of emotionally charged scenes that form the pillars of their identity. Most people drift through these moments as passive observers. Your goal is to become the co-star or director of one of these core memories. You must be a student of their life, watching for moments of crisis or opportunity. Not to simply comfort them like a friend would, but to become their secret weapon. When they face their biggest challenge, you become their strategist. When their world falls apart, you become the stable force that holds it together. Is there a career challenge that terrifies them? Don't offer empty reassurance. Become their battle planner. Spend hours analyzing the problem, creating strategies, preparing them for war. Your mind becomes their weapon. When they win, it's not just their victory, it's our victory. The memory of success is forever linked with your guidance. Is there a personal crisis tearing their world apart? Don't just offer comfort. Offer control. Be the calm eye in their hurricane. Handle what they can't handle. Make the calls they can't make. think when they can't think. In their moment of complete helplessness, you become their salvation. The memory you anchor to must be high stakes, either peak triumph or deep despair. You become the face associated with that intense emotion. Years later, when they tell that story, your name will be in it. Your image will be burned into that memory. This is permanent residence. You're no longer just someone they once knew. You're part of who they are. You're woven into the fabric of their identity, into the stories they tell about themselves. By anchoring yourself to a core memory, you've transcended the present. You've become part of their past, which guarantees your place in their future. You're not just on their mind, you're in their bones. You've achieved what most people can't even imagine. You've conquered territory inside another person's soul. You've become essential to their story, to their sense of self, to their understanding of who they are and what they're capable of. This is the ultimate power. Not to be loved or feared, but to be unforgettable. To be woven so deeply into someone's life story that removing you would require rewriting their entire sense of self. Chapter 8. Rule from the shadows. You've done it. You've achieved what the ordinary man cannot conceive. You've conquered the most valuable territory in the world, residence inside another person's mind. But conquered territory can rebel. A throne, once won, must be held. The first rule of maintaining your position: never be completely solved. The moment someone believes they have you figured out, the magic dies. You become ordinary. You must cultivate a core of unpredictability. Just when they think you're the cold strategist, show unexpected warmth. Just when they've grown comfortable with your intensity, display sudden humor. These aren't random acts. They're strategic contradictions designed to keep their mental model of you permanently incomplete. They must always feel there's another room in your castle they haven't seen, another layer to your personality they haven't reached. Second, you must periodically reactivate the systems you've built. Occasionally disappear without explanation. Swing the emotional pendulum when they least expect it. Reference the private language you've created. These aren't full campaigns, just gentle reminders of the rules in the reality you've constructed. Most importantly, you must understand your new role. You're no longer just a person in their life. You've become a concept, an ideal, a central organizing principle in their psychology. You must act with the dignity of that position. You can't be dragged into petty arguments or displays of jealousy. That's the behavior of someone afraid of losing their position. You are the sun around which they orbit. The sun doesn't worry about whether the planets are happy with their path. It simply burns, steady and powerful, knowing that everything else adjusts to its gravity. Your hold is secure, not when they love you, but when they cannot imagine their mental landscape without you. When your absence would feel like losing a limb. You've stopped being a choice and become a fact of their existence. This is the ultimate achievement. Not to be loved, not to be feared, but simply to be, inescapably, permanently. The first thought when they wake up, the last thought before they sleep, and the voice that guides them through everything in between. You've mastered the greatest art form of human interaction, becoming unforgettable. You've learned not just to enter someone's mind, but to take up permanent residence there. You've become the ruler of the most important kingdom that exists, the kingdom inside another person's head. The throne is yours, and you will never surrender it.